B-Team, we're back, and we have a special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan from Tanzos.
The infamous
B-Team, how we doing?
We're good, man. We're good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I mean, he is a Christmas Parlay rider.
Yep.
He's been a ride or die for us. Big supporter. Big Eagles fan, all Philly. We talked about that before.
And Yankees.
Slightly okay.
50-50.
Okay, just what do you mean there? So your part of your family is a Yankees fan.
My family's from Jersey, so I grew up watching the Yankees. Like I really don't follow baseball as much as like most people do. So I went to Temple for 4 years, so like I just started liking the Phillies more and following them. Like when I actually started following baseball.
Shout out Jordan Spittle.
Yeah. Spidle. He actually came. Did you see that text?
Yeah, so our old stats guy, he Spidle. But Jordan Spittle's been a running joke they have on here since he left because I don't think he enjoys the fact that we mispronounce his name.
Okay.
But he decided recently that he's going to be an Eagles fan, and he was a Steelers fan for the entirety of his life.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where that's at.
Yeah, all right.
Makes no sense.
Makes sense. No, no, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
But yeah.
Transfer to the better PA team.
Yeah, he's a what I call it, Steagles. Yeah, he's a Steagles fan. Steagles fan.
There you go.
Yeah. He's a Eagles fan. We are not. I am a Jets fan. Muller's a Cowboys fan. Guess he's a Jets fan. So there are two Jets fans on the podcast. Let me ask you real quick, way off topic. What do you think about the Jets? Such a terrible start, but I'm curious.
The Jets, like right now, or the Jets, like the future of the Jets.
How about the future of the Jets? Because it seems like you follow football pretty.
I think the
pretty
whole
thoroughly.
Rodgers thing was a dead-on impact for your season. Like I think like there's no coming back from that. If Rodgers gets healthy and he can play to the level that we think he can for a full season, I think the Jets could easily be at least a wild card team. I think they had a lot of tough beats this season with the quarterbacks. Simeon, Zach Wilson. Was there another one? There's another one in there. No?
Tim Boyle.
Yeah, part of the Christmas parlay.
Legend.
Yeah. Tim
Legend.
Boyle. Yeah.
Let me ask you, when you saw that parlay,
I audibly laughed. I was like, there's no way.
It?
Was that was like day 1 or 2, right?
No, that
was like
day
midweek.
4 or 5.
It was early.
It was early.
It was early enough that I did, but I remember I sent it to him. Like I sent back in the group chat. I was like, dude, this has to be a joke. And I said, because he was, you told them about how like I was guessing who took the picks and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, did the producer take this pick? And he's like, no. I was like, oh, it was you. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, that's ballsy. I mean, listen, anything with the Jets is possible and impossible. So
I went down with the ship on that one.
Yeah.
It's funny that like you guys, because Muller would tell us like, oh, like all the Tanzos guys are guessing on like who bet what. But I feel like if you followed the trends, like you could isolate who was taking who. Like hockey, obviously was me. I feel like that was easy. But then it was between Muller and Gass. Like if it was the Cowboys, it was Colin. But
the one that I was most infuriated with was definitely Ferguson money line, because I said earlier in the day I love Patty the Batty, and I follow UFC pretty decently, and I was like, dude, there's no way in hell that Ferguson's beating this guy like at all, like not even 5 rounds. And I took it obviously anyway because the payout was like $700. So I was like, okay, fine.
It was a good payout.
And I was watching the fight live with a few of the Tanzos guys, and we were in there, and like I think it went the full distance.
Yeah.
It wasn't a knockout, so I was like, okay, maybe they could get a knockout here, but he was just getting his ass kicked, and I was like, oh my god. And I think that was the only leg that missed too. And I was like, if we just took Patty, maybe gotten 300, 400 out of that, it would have been fine. But who picked that one?
Was that you?
Was that you?
No.
No, wait. I thought we changed it.
I was going to have something else at first, but we were like, you know what? We're riding with Tony.
Yeah,
I will say it was an emotional decision.
It was. But that was during the
clinging
time.
on to a past Tony Ferguson that doesn't exist anymore.
Tony Ferguson that's lost like multiple straight fights. And
No,
hasn't won in years.
There was
It
one
was the
thing
David
though.
Goggins training.
Yes.
Yes.
The only reason
Okay.
why I
All right,
respected
yeah.
it, though.
Yeah.
Because I saw him coming out too, and I was like,
Yeah.
because I had just found out about that like the day before. I think they announced it. I was like, okay, fine. But when I saw Patty come out with those braids, I was
The cornrows.
I was like,
we,
oh no.
we did not know that was going to happen. If
That-
we all said that if we knew that was going to happen, we would not have taken
I
it.
think that was like when he walked out with the cornrows, I was like,
Yeah.
I was convinced knockout first round. I was like, there it is. That was like some Sean O'Malley. I was like, he's in, and I was like, he did win, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
first.
no, there was a point in the 24 days of Christmas where we were up enough that we all just were like, you know what, let's just go for it. We're going for the jugular every night. And then I think on Christmas Eve was when we really reeled it in and said, all right, let's at least try and go out with a win here because we're getting dangerously close to break even.
It was really close.
Yeah,
If you
we-
guys would
we
have
got
lost,
down
then I
to,
think
like-
you would have been up $50 because I remember I was getting ready to be like, 25 days just to make $50. I could have done that at 6 hours at Tanzos if I wanted to. But.
Dude, I was feeling myself at one point because I think I had a great 24 days of Christmas. I had a good record.
What were the final standings? I know you told me, but I
We
forget.
went like 15-4. At least I know. I
No,
did.
No,
like
it
the
was-
individual picks.
Yeah, no, it was
Individuals.
13 and it was like 14. You had 13 or 14 wins. I was one behind you. I had 12 or 13.
I thought I had
Yes,
like 14
you
or
had
15.
like 10, 9 or 10. No, we lost a lot.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
as a
You
team.
only won like 6 of the days, right? You didn't even win
6 or 7
6
of
or
the days.
7.
There were a couple though that were like big payouts though. Like
Yeah,
the
that's why
big
you
values.
guys were
thing.
because like the
Yeah.
one was like massive, but it,
It-
was
it
enough
was
to
a-
ride you a little bit. but-
Yeah.
Day one.
Day
the
one was
fact-
fun.
The fact that we hit day one was mad. We
Was
said it multiple
electric.
times
Yeah.
that day leading up to it. We're like, we have to hit this day.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We were like, we just pick something that's going to hit, and then we all came in with like a minus 105. And it instantly was like, all right, we're in this now.
I don't remember exactly. What
Gassy
it was.
took the
I
Sixers with the points, and they
That
had,
was
they
the
didn't
one.
have
I was
Maxey.
like,
That was
They
the
didn't have
first one.
Maxey
Yeah.
or Embiid,
Yeah.
and I think they won the game.
They won.
They
They,
did.
they won
They
outright.
won
They won
outright.
And it was like
outright
a
against the
plus 8
Celtics.
spread. I think it was in Boston.
It was in Boston. We
Boston,
didn't
yeah.
have Embiid. We didn't have Maxey.
Yeah,
And,
and they didn't have
Tobias was
Electric.
I don't even think Tobias.
No,
was
I think
Tobias
that was
playing?
that like the 35-point game that he
Okay,
had?
yeah, he must have gone off.
And Tatum had a stinker or something, or he didn't play.
Yeah,
it was
he
one
didn't
of those
play.
Two. Yeah.
It was crazy.
And that one was pretty convincing when like it was won pretty quick, and we were like, oh wow, okay, fair.
Yeah, because
off the
I
bat.
hit the
Yeah.
college basketball. He hit
I think I hit a
hockey.
hockey one.
He hit
yeah.
over on hockey.
It was
that,
like an over
It was good
for
in
the
like the
Flyers.
second
Yeah.
period.
Yep.
And then that one,
San
coming
Jose
down
and
the
the
stretch, I
Devils.
was like, holy shit, we're gonna do it.
That felt really nice. Right
That
off
was
the bat.
really good.
Like you can't make that. Like we said it right on a platter. If we went like 0-3,
You got people hooked. Like if you
Yeah,
had lost
right
like
away.
days 1 and 2, like I definitely would not have been doing it again. And like I saw there was a bunch of people I follow that like I know like we don't know directly that were like tailing you guys, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow. I was like, all right, people want money, do it, might as well.
And they did. Like
They did.
But we kept saying it in the group chat that the problem with people being mad at us was that you're betting on other stuff, which, I mean, we were too, so we can't really be mad. But at the end of the day, we won people money. And the fact that a bunch of guys at Tanzos were like, we didn't win anything. We're like, well,
Yeah,
you're betting on DeRozan to have 25 points. The man puts up 8 points a night.
yeah.
So we can't help you there.
I bet on darts.
That was you?
I bet on darts, bro.
I went ballistic on that one. That was
You were
the
not
one
happy
where
with
I
that
was
one.
really
Really?
upset
Yeah.
because you guys were on like it was multiple day losing streak, and
It
that
was
one
bad.
that was like the day before Christmas Eve or like right before Christmas.
It was like the
22nd.
It was a 20.
It did hit.
It was the 21st. I remember it like it was yesterday. The 21st. It was the 21st day of December, and we hit on a parlay with darts.
Minus 300, dude. I was like, how could I not take this guy? He's a minus 300 favorite. I have to.
I got a text.
His name was
from-
Gabriel. I
I got a
had to.
text from the Tanzos guys, and they were like, "You do realize that this man hasn't won in 6 matches?" And I was like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
"Yeah, no, the guy was on a significant losing streak."
Okay. Well, that
That's why
Wow.
I had texted him. I was like,
He's
"Did
like,
you do any research?" And he goes, "No, but he's minus 300. Like, how could he lose?"
so you definitely just you just went on the sports book and looked for like anything minus 250. You're like, okay, that looks
No,
good.
no,
or
like
you-
it. Okay, there were some because we came out with it at like 12 o'clock, and like some nights I'd be out drinking all night, like, and I'd wake up super late. I probably gave you this pick at like 11:30, 11:45, and I was like, shit, let me just give him something real quick, and I'm like, all right. Well, I see darts minus 300 because at that point there wasn't that many hockey games on. It was soccer and darts, and that was like an NBA. And I was like, you know what, like minus 300. Like he can't lose, right? He can't lose. Like, and I didn't know he was on a 6-game skid where he didn't win. So,
like
lucked out there.
I remember you guys were definitely on a losing streak at that point because I remember I was infuriated.
People were mad.
I
People
was
weren't
like,
happy.
there's no goddamn way this man's putting up darts. But I have to say, I gotta echo that whole late night drinking thing because some of my best bets, I've woken up like no sleep, hungover, and I'm like, listen, let's look on the sportsbook, see what we got here. Some of the best hits I've had.
$800 in your
Oh,
bank
yeah.
account. You're like, what happened?
It's like you got to turn off your brain a little bit. Be like, let's
You
just do it.
yeah.
Can't overthink it.
No, when you overthink it,
That's when bad stuff happens. It's like today, I was looking in the sports book, Turkish basketball. I don't know either of the teams. I don't know how to pronounce their names, but first half, I'm looking at these teams. I mean, they're shooting the lights out. Over 80 points in the first half. Of course, they put up 90. It's a straight dub.
I got a buddy that I'm not going to name. You don't know him anyway, but like he sends me slips all the time where he gets just outrageous and bets on like late night 2 a.m. like Chinese, Turkish, ping pong basketball, swimming, like all this stuff, and it's like $50 to pay out like 150, 200 every night. And it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. I'm getting these slips. I'm like, bro, like call the number.
like, dude, it's right there.
Like,
it's there doing
it's
the
not,
base.
It's not worth it at that moment in time. But yeah, man, I've never done that, and I don't want to do that. Ping pong was a first, or darts was a first for me. Whatever that one was. Yeah,
Me too. It was a
we
winner.
used to do ping pong bets
Back in the day.
in the warehouse. Yeah,
warehouse days. Yeah.
I think if you're
That was the only
betting,
thing on.
if you're betting on any sport besides like Korean baseball, like late night, if you're betting on like shuffleboard or like curling or ping pong, you gotta look yourself in the mirror and be like, dude, like, should I call this number? Like, do I need this number right now?
Dude, Spencer. I don't know if you saw the group chat the other night. Spencer was talking about how he won all that money and then he sent like 2 hours later. He's like, guys, I need help. I got a real problem. I was like, I love you, Spence, but I don't know what you did. But I want to know what you did, man, because I'm concerned for you, my friend.
Now, I'm curious. Do you and the Tanzos boys, do you look at our mortals for the NFL? Like, did you guys tell any of those?
I looked at them this past week just because the gambling show's new, but the mortals aren't new, right? I haven't
No,
been following
morals we've had since last season.
Yeah.
I think I looked at them this week because me and him were talking about like end of season stats and stuff like that. I took the Tyreek one and I took a Mike Evans one that didn't hit.
Mike Evans got shut down. That
Yeah.
pissed me off.
He only had like 20 yards. I bet him to just have over 70, and he didn't. do it.
He
For
had
a player
8
prop?
Yeah, he had 9 targets and 2 catches. It was horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, the targets.
that was a horrible game by a horrible team.
Yeah.
Playing another horrible team. That's playing another horrible team next week.
So I guess he's due. I said, listen,
Let's get into the game.
okay, what I'll
I
say.
let myself into that one.
Yeah, you did.
No, I'll
sorry.
leave the floor to you. What do you think's going to happen? Where do the Birds go from here? And then we'll talk about the problems that has been going on with Philly. So, go ahead, get after it.
It is a massive collapse. What's going on? It's not even going on. It happened. The collapse is here. It's Armageddon's here. It's over. No, it's not even funny. No, I seriously, I got a few stats for you guys here. So the gauntlet, all season, we're talking about this gauntlet, right? This gauntlet, Eagles had the hardest schedule. Admittedly, they did. Fine. Their gauntlet was a 7-game stretch. They had the Dolphins, the Commanders, which wasn't really part of the gauntlet, but it was in the middle. Dolphins, Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, and Cowboys again. They went 5-2 on that stretch. Golden.
Yeah.
They finished their post-gauntlet run 1-3, and only one of those teams had a winning record. It's almost impossible to even say. Like, I don't even know how that's actually a fact. It's it's way beyond embarrassing. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. Like, they're going out there running cardio out there. I don't know. They are misled. They're misguided, and I truthfully think a lot of them are in denial. Like, they are, especially Sirianni. Like, you made a good point the other day on the other show that no one's talking about Brian Johnson anymore. Like, Brian Johnson's the problem, but this is a Sirianni issue at this point. And I was hoping after the second Giants game, the Giants lost, that, he was going to be like, this is bad. We got to fix this. He went on there and said, we're not changing anything going into the playoffs. That is so unbelievably arrogant. I was infuriated by that. And then the other thing that infuriated me, Hurts infuriates me with how he acts too at this point, because I loved the whole humble, respectful leader guy who didn't boast in anything. Great thing to have in a quarterback. But what I like in leaders is what happens when shit hits the fan. Shit has hit the fan for the past 6 weeks, and all we're getting is the same inspirational quote. We're getting the same, we got hit in the mouth. We got to do something about it. They got hit in the mouth the last 6 weeks, and they're just getting their ass kicked again and again and again. And I don't know. And the thing that really, really like set me off, and that I've officially given up on this team because of their mentality, is Fletcher Cox in the interview after the Giants game. This was his quote. He said, "It's really hard to win 11 games, and it's really hard to make it to the playoffs. And a lot of teams are having exit meetings tomorrow," which on paper, that's a wildly true statement. You know, it's hard to win 11 games. But it doesn't matter if you're winning 11 games and then losing to 3 of the worst teams in the league convincingly when you have the 1 seed on the line and then you lost the 1 seed. You still had the division on the line, and they blew it. It's inexcusable. And I know you're smirking over there, and I want you to enjoy it, truly, because I have no words, rhyme, or reason for this.
If there's any consolation to it that I could add, like, it's really tough in the NFL also, like when you're 10-1 to be granted the easiest schedule down the stretch. Like, that is something you guys should be proud of. It's tough to get that.
It didn't even matter. And I think, honestly, the season ended. There was a lot of talk about the Buffalo game, like the controversy with that, like, oh, they got lucky in OT. Now that we're removed from the season, and I didn't really think about it until the Bills won the other night. So since that Buffalo game, the Eagles are 1-5, and they managed to lose the 1 seed and the division in that. Do either of you know what the Bills' record is since that loss?
They're
Now,
6-1.
am I allowed to say it on here? The McDermott thing? Or whatever.
Sure, you can. Why not?
Can I? Well, ever since he made the comments that are egregious, being from a New York team, they've been on a heater.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
That-
the spark?
Yeah, and honestly,
No pun intended in the spark.
honestly,
That was the light.
I can't believe that he's been allowed to continue this for that long and not have a suspension. But continue. Yes, I do see what you're saying.
6-1 though.
They've been
5-0.
fantastic.
5-0.
They won out, and there was a stat that Bleacher Report put up 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. The Dolphins were minus 2,500 to win the division.
Yeah.
The Bills won the division 2 nights ago,
Yep.
and the 2 seed because they won out.
Yeah.
And talk about leadership there. Josh Allen, like, he might not be, he's up there with the most talented, but as far as leaders in a quarterback, that I feel like he's got to be number 1.
Easily. I mean, he contained Stephon Diggs
Yeah.
in that whole situation and kept it in-house
Yeah.
and never let anything slip out. I feel like the Eagles have let stuff slip out,
Yeah.
and he kept it all in-house. He got Stephon back on their side,
Mm-hmm.
and now all of a sudden, Stephon, he might not have been putting up the numbers the last 5 weeks
Played well
that
on
we're
Sunday
used to,
night.
but he played damn well when it mattered.
Yeah.
And he's on Josh Allen's side. You can see that they're in this together, and now they're going to the playoffs as one of the top contenders. So I totally agree with you there.
I generally think that, you know, like, Josh Allen has similar characteristics to Hurts, where like he seems pretty humble, and he's like really like he's like in it to win it. Like, he's not boastful that much, but like when he's pissed, you can tell and you can see it. And like,
Hurts doesn't have that.
no, and like there's a huge difference between like getting pissed like Kelsey and Mahomes, where they just look like crybabies, and little bitches. Like, I don't want that either. But like, holy God, they've dug themselves the biggest hole, and Hurts, like, Hurts, all of them, like, it's almost like they're like, oh, but we're in the playoffs. Yeah, we're in the playoffs on the worst possible route. Like, let's make up this. Like, how I'm feeling right now is, regardless, let's say they beat the Bucs going into San Fran. Unless if an act of God happens, they're not winning that game. I would be wildly content if they lost by a score or less. Like, I'd be like, okay, I could believe again. I'm at the point where I think if they get past the Bucs and like they like go back to some normalcy, I think they lose by 3 scores in San Fran, which sucks because I also and I've said this to you, I think San Fran is a ticking time bomb. I think
Really?
Purdy is going to implode. Like, if it's not the next game, it's one more. I don't think they're touching the Super Bowl. And I know that's a crazy take.
And
right
is
now.
that just based on Purdy? Is that based on the system?
I think it's.
What's the main reason for that?
I think it's mainly Purdy, but also just like that just seems how it always is with the 49ers. Like something always happens, whether it's an injury, whether it's,
So who's their biggest threat in the NFC?
I mean, I would say Dallas, but
Dallas.
it didn't look like Dallas when they played them.
Week 2, it's like week 2 or week 3.
Yeah.
We'll give it a pass. Usually you do that first 2 weeks, but
It was like week 4.
We also had injuries. I'd like to point
that
out.
maybe was.
Yeah,
That was right after our Cardinals game where
the-
we also had injuries.
So week 4,
Cardinals
man.
are a tough team. Tough team.
they are.
You know.
They are. The only thing here, though, is that game would be in San Francisco, and we know how the Cowboys play on the road.
We can't kick on the road. We can't play on the road.
Yeah.
Well, technically, actually, we can after last week.
I think if all goes according to plan, it will be, unfortunately, the Cowboys and the 49ers. But, I mean, I don't think – honestly, I don't really care because I don't think the Super Bowl winner is coming out of the NFC.
You think the AFC regardless is taking
It's AFC regardless, unless something drastic happens.
Now who do you got in the AFC?
Well, wait, I want to stay in the NFC real quick before we jump
sure.
over there because I want to talk about this because everyone's saying the 49ers are going. Well, in my mind right now, yeah, I think the Eagles pull this one out. They win the first game. But here's the thing. They're going to be playing in Dallas because I think the Rams have that game in Detroit, and they're going to be playing against the 49ers, and you're going to be set up with 2 divisional games coming out of the NFC.
The Rams will go to San Fran?
Rams
They
in
win?
San Fran because the Rams are below you guys.
Yeah.
So they'll be the lower seed, and
Yeah.
you guys will come down to Dallas.
Okay.
And that'll be 2 of the most electric football games, hopefully, that we could get. And I think
Yeah.
the Rams push the 49ers better than anyone in the NFC right now. That's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think anyone else goes there, it's dog shit. You're losing.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting because it's playoffs. Anything can happen any given Sunday. It's just like the pattern, though, that I'm seeing. Like you were talking earlier before we got on air about the whole, like, Philly obnoxious thing, like, believing no matter what. Like, 3 years ago, when Jalen Hurts was a rookie, took over for Wentz, or I think it was his first full year. Whenever we were playing in Tampa versus Brady, the year that I think they won that year. I'm not sure. It was when Brady
They
was still
won
there.
that year, yep.
Me and my roommates, we were like, Hurts is going to upset here. Like, we're going to go on a run. This is going to be like the beginning of us. We got stomped.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, it was Brady. Looking back on it, we should have never thought that way. But Hurts played horrible. He was under the lights for the first time.
That
but
Bucs
like,
team was ridiculous.
yeah, I think they did win that year. I think that
They did,
no,
yeah.
no, that wasn't the year. No,
No, because they lost to
the Rams.
Rams.
The
the
Rams
next-
won.
Oh,
won.
yeah, you're up.
Yeah.
Yep,
But
yep.
they were still they were in the
They
NFC
went
Championship.
back the
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah. No, but like that's the thing. Like I was still excited for that game. I've been excited for a lot of the old Eagles games with like Wentz, where he was hobbling out there, and like even when Foles went down, or when Wentz went down and Foles came
in.
on.
Yep.
Dude, I have no more energy for this team. Like unless if I see like I was writing in here, I was like, unless if the Eagles come out and win by 3 or 4 scores, I'm just not in it.
Yeah.
And I know it's shitty to say and it's unfortunate, but when you look at the competition, like it's just there's no point in investing when you know that you're just being outplayed and outcoached. Mm-hmm. It's not even about like the Eagles have the talent, but something's going on, and it's a lack of leadership. It's a lack of focus. I don't even know. It's like you could say it's 40 things.
I think that's exactly what it is, though. I think right now, and like you said, I'll go back to the gauntlet. I mean, they play those teams, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Cowboys. Like on the show, like during that time, I'm like, yo, you got to give them some slack. They're going through a little stretches when they maybe lost 2 or 3 straight. Mm-hmm. Like they just played all these good teams. They got a little banged up. Like just give them a little bit, but like every week has come back. Like they beat the Giants on Christmas Day, but ever since then, it's like, okay, like I am a little concerned.
Yeah.
And then they lost last week, and it's like, oh, like what's going on here? Because this is a team that was supposed to go back to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl repeat between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Birds. I think a lot of it, like you said, does fall on Sirianni. I mean, if you're not making any changes, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Like, you're going to expect the same results every single game. I think it's him. I think it's Brian Johnson, who he's going to be gone. He's going to be done. And then Hurts as well. I mean, granted, he had injuries last week on the wide receiver side. He only had Julio out there.
Yeah.
But like you said, like he's very humble, soft-spoken, but I said this, like, sometimes you want to see your guy a little angry. Like, not like Mahomes and Kelsey, how they were talking to the ref and Josh Allen about that, but that's what matters.
And there's a few scenarios that could come out of this next weekend, this next Monday night game. And one of them is if this team comes out and gets slaughtered, offense looks horrible, Jalen looks bad again, is there a scenario in your mind that there's a new quarterback coming to Philly?
New coach, yes.
Is there anything in there? Because Jalen Hurts has gotten a lot of crap over the last couple weeks, I would say. I don't support it. I mean, I've been a Jalen Hurts guy since Wentz was there. I've been calling for Wentz's head, hoping Jalen would step in there, roll tide. But
Don't give a piss.
don't give a piss about the tide. But
Gotta get that out there.
is there a scenario in your mind that they ever move on for Jalen?
I mean, ever move on, or like you're talking
Like over this
No.
offseason?
No, I think that would be wildly ignorant. I mean, as of 4 weeks ago, he was still an MVP candidate. I mean, he almost won it last year. Hurts isn't playing to the standard that we need him to, but like, I don't think I can point at him confidently and be like, this is why this is happening. If you bring in a new coach and it's still like this, then yeah. But I think you can't do that. And like, he's still got 11 wins. Like, it's not like he's like, it's not like they're just like totally like lackluster. But the one thing I will say is the reason that I don't really want to see it, which sucks, but like if they do win on Monday night, that's going to be the only validation for Sirianni to stay. If they win a playoff game, he'll be like, okay, I'm 11-6 and I got through the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough for Howie Roseman to be like, okay, we'll get another year.
And there's one more.
Go ahead.
They're in the mentality there, right? All right, if we win one game, the mentality changes on Sirianni a little bit. Is there a mentality switch from the fans who are like, this season's over, like if we win this game, we're going to San Fran? Let's say the Rams do win, and you guys are coming to Dallas. Does the mentality completely shift to, we could do this, we could go to the Super Bowl? Because if that's the case, that would be the most Philly thing of all time.
I think it would not change like we're going to the Super Bowl, but like right now, like say we were going to San Fran.
Yeah.
I'd be like, we're dead in the water because they already beat us. We've beaten the Cowboys
Barely.
already.
Should have lost. Should have lost.
Happened.
Should have
This is what-
lost.
this is what I'm expecting
You
here.
know.
Happened.
Yeah, because you guys
Happened.
pay the refs.
What?
You don't think Sirianni pays refs?
Did you watch that Detroit game 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we got
checked
screwed.
in.
We got screwed.
checked in.
Did you watch? Okay, he checked in, but did you see the trip by Hutchinson? Did you see the trip by Hutchinson that we got called for? That led to it?
But he checked in.
We would have run the clock out. This is an Eagles fan. This is an Eagles fan.
This is what- no, I like
they
this.
erase
I like
everything
this.
from their mind that goes to the Cowboys. This is the same reason why Dak will never win MVP, because he has a star on his helmet.
This is definitely Dak's best year. I will say that.
He
But
should be
less than
MVP
10
over Lamar.
picks.
He should be MVP over Lamar. The only thing Lamar has over him is that his team, the Ravens, and his coach, who's better than Mike McCarthy, won one more game. Right? They had 12 wins.
12 wins, yep.
Oh, cool. They won one more game.
And they beat the piss out of the 49ers that you did not.
Cool. They also lost to the Steelers twice.
Yeah, that's true too. I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm saying it's
yeah,
Dak's best
yeah,
year. I'm
yeah.
saying it's Dak's best year.
His
but
numbers are phenomenal. And also the what was it? 15 and 23. What does that number mean to you? Something like that. Something like 20s and 15s, touchdowns to turnovers. What does that mean to you?
That's got to be Hurts's. Is it?
Oh, no. Yeah, it was Dak's last year that everyone ripped him for and called for his head and said that they need to get a new quarterback in there and everything needs to go from Dak. And now Jalen has those numbers. So I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are on those numbers.
Horrible.
Do you think, he should go. Shady McCoy said it best. Like, if those are your quarterback's numbers, he's a terrible quarterback. You need a new one.
Yeah,
That's your running back.
that is my running back.
Yeah.
I love him to death, even though he needs to get angry a little bit. Listen, Colin, I'm really glad. I was hoping for this. I'm so excited for you because this is a very legitimate shot that you guys are going to go far. And it's going to be even better when you guys somehow muck it up one more time.
Like the Eagles did last year? Like the Eagles did last year?
We were there.
Yeah. And
Bad
then
call.
and
Bad
then
call
you
at the
lost.
end.
Then
Bad
you
call
lost.
at the end.
Well,
Bad call at the end.
maybe if your equipment staff was a little better, you could have had real cleats at the game.
We
You guys
shouldn't
were
have
wearing
played on
children's shoes.
brand new
You were wearing
turf.
children's shoes that
Brand
you got
new
at
turf.
Payless. You got them at Payless. Those things were the size of like dots. You know the candy dots? That's what you were wearing.
Dippin' Dots?
No,
no.
dots.
Dots?
Dots. The yellow box. They're like the candies that are horrible. They get stuck in your teeth.
I mean,
Oh, you
man,
gotta culture
yeah.
yourself. But
You just said it's
dots.
horrible.
They're terrible.
Seriously though, I'm super excited for you, and I'm glad you're excited. I'm really happy.
Can we, can we
really
gentlemen,
happy for
wait,
you.
wait. Can we gentlemen shake that you have to on camera congratulate me in my Dak Prescott jersey, and you have to mean it if we win the Super Bowl. You have to say, Colin, congratulations on your Super Bowl, and you have to shake my hand.
And if they don't?
with a
Like,
smile.
What happens if they don't?
If they don't, then
It has to be something better for me.
I'll wear your Kelly Green jersey for a day. I can't take it off. I have to go out in public
For the show.
For the show, yeah, I'll wear it.
For the show?
For the show,
like
the day after the Cowboys lost. That's what you got to wear.
Yeah,
Okay.
deal.
Got you.
There you go. On camera.
But is that wait? Reverse it real quick because I have a okay.
Okay.
So now
Why was there two there? That's
because we had to reverse it. So now is that a loss in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs?
it's a loss in general. If you do not win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Are you
so
not confident?
No, yeah, I'm in. I just had to clarify that because
Three shakes.
I didn't know.
So if
Yeah,
you lose,
no, yeah.
unless if you're hosting the Lombardi, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, it's gonna be tough for me to host on Lombardi here, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's gonna be so cool.
I honestly,
I've never had a Super Bowl.
it's sad because I feel like Big Cat right now. Like Dallas losing is going to be my Super Bowl. Like I feel like
That's your pinky game.
I know. I feel like I feel like Big Cat being a Bears fan and like, when the Packers lose, it's his Super Bowl. I feel like that's where I'm at right now. And I feel
your
like
Super Bowl.
that's super sad. That's
When the
really
Birds
sad.
lose, that's his Super Bowl.
I know. You must have been stoked last year. I was heartbroken, but it was a bad call. It's
Last
okay.
year, what happened? Oh yeah. Got it. Yeah, the Chiefs beat you guys. Yep.
Yeah.
I had a good amount of money on the Chiefs too. I had Jalen Hurts 2+ touchdowns, but I had a lot of money on the Chiefs.
Oh God.
Shout out to Jalen, by the way. He covered the one interception I also bet on.
That
I wish I
interception's
took.
pretty good,
I wish
too.
I took him to have a fumble.
Yeah. In due time, Colin.
Is this him every time at Tanzos?
No, he's being a little more obnoxious now, but it's okay because
Because there's more people around you that are Birds fans.
when Dallas when Dallas is plays bad, I am a dick to him, and so it's okay.
So it goes,
And I
hand,
shut
it
up.
goes hand in hand.
yeah,
shut up.
and
I
it's
know.
okay. And but here's the thing though, if they won the Super Bowl, if they actually did win, as much as that would literally kill me, still whatever. Happy for him, whatever.
You would have to let me have my moment.
I would let you have your moment, yeah. But I mean, like I said, I don't even think let's live in an imaginary world where you make it. I don't think you're beating the AFC. I think the AFC is going to wipe it away either way.
You're forgetting that the Steelers have a shot of getting there still.
See,
TJ Watt's back in the next round if they win.
Big
if they beat the Bills in Buffalo, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you-
And it's not like the Miami Dolphins going to Kansas City in the cold weather. Like Pittsburgh's built for that. They know what they're doing. Run the ball. Najee Harris,
Mason Rudolph,
Mason
take
Rudolph.
to the promised land.
You saw the video.
dude. Oh my God, no. no, I'm not even gonna entertain that one.
You get sucked in sometimes. You
Listen,
get trapped by Mueller.
The Steelers are
Terrible. We don't have to talk about them. They're garbage. They're not going to make it far.
You
No,
see
yeah.
my shirt. I know what's going to happen.
Josh Allen's tall.
They're
He's
not
tall.
built for it.
The spread's 10, I think.
Yeah.
Plus 10.
They're gonna cover it.
I think they can
Yeah, me
cover.
too.
I don't think they're
They're
winning.
gonna cover that. Honestly, it's nice for the Steelers fans that they get to say they have the winning record every year and stuff. But I don't know. What's your guys' opinion? Would you rather have a winning record every year and still be average or come up short, or would you rather have a few years where you're bad and then have some rebuilding years where you're good and maybe get a Super Bowl out of that?
That,
Do you
right
wanna-
there exactly.
You should take that as a Jets fan.
Right there exactly. I say this
Like-
all the time. How can you enjoy? Granted, Mike Tomlin has had a winning record every single year, but you get bounced first round of playoffs. Besides the times of Bill Cowher days, it's what are you achieving there? Okay, you won a couple of games at the end of the year. You won some close games during the year. That you're maybe we're good, but deep down, you're not good.
It's honestly a lot like being a Cowboys fan. Lots of wins throughout the year and then just nothing after that.
No, but the difference is that I shouldn't even say
The
this
difference
because
is the
so-
Steelers have won while you're alive.
No,
and
so-
the Cowboys have not.
So here's what I was gonna give you a compliment, but now you're rubbing it in my face.
I don't have much,
Here's
man.
the thing about us two, because I said this to them when we were gonna have you on. The reason why we had him on is because he's not one of those type of Eagles fans that thinks that they're just the best team of all time every day of the week, and I like to think that I'm that way too, unless we win that week, because there's been weeks throughout the middle of the year where I'm like, no, you guys are 100% better. You're gonna win the division. Like, I'm just hoping we win a playoff game. Like, that was my goal. Middle of the year, I said 10-7, win a playoff game.
I feel like there's a little bit of reverse psychology for you, though. Like, you're just saying that to be
No, I've said
into
it.
the
I've
universe.
said it on here. I've said it to you guys.
Yeah.
Like 10-7, win a playoff game. But now that has changed because this team has taken a step. So now my expectation is to get to the conference championship and then the Super Bowl. So yeah, I am going to be a little arrogant in that sense. But
As you should be.
at the same time, we don't have to get crazy about it because I think the Eagles are going to win. And if they come to Dallas, yes, I'm worried because that is a very big game. And I like Jalen Hurts. Like, this is not good for us if the Eagles come. And
It's not good for anyone, I don't think, honestly.
in recent years, to bring it back to what we were talking about, in recent years, I've been like, yes, this team is legit. I think we can win the division. But I jokingly say we're going to go to the Super Bowl. Like, those tweets I send out are clearly to trigger people like Johnny Butillo and like some of these Eagles fans on Twitter. Like, if you ask me, we're getting no further than the Jets most years. Like,
Always comes back to the Jets,
Let's
huh?
be honest. Yeah, let's be honest.
Man,
Like,
we had a tough 9/11, man. That was a brutal
Yeah,
9/11.
please, come on now.
well,
Now looks at Josh Allen is tall. Look at
Bills, they're support. You
can't.
But for the Eagles and the Cowboys, I think it's a constant like circle of life where we don't win the division every year because it alternates.
Yeah.
Like no one repeats in this division. So us two, you always go into the season thinking you have a shot at a Super Bowl. You have a shot to make the playoffs. So both of us, like both fan bases are the same. Yes, we hate each other, but like we're the same at the end of the day. We both are stupid enough to think we can win the Super Bowl. We both are dumb enough to think that the season's over when we lose a few games in a row. Like if we've been in your shoes. Last year we were in your shoes, and when we made the playoffs, we were like, this is like, why are we here? We've been there. So it's just a reversal of roles because last year you guys were like, we're going to the Super Bowl, which you did.
Yeah.
You lost it, but you went to the Super Bowl, which I respect. And at the end of the day, I bet on you guys to score some touchdowns, which I would do again in a heartbeat. Now, that's where my mutual respect comes in, but here's where my hate comes in. Because Eagles fans are the fucking worst. That's why my trash can is your cooler. And
Oh, that's bad.
yeah.
You won that from Tanzos, and that's
Yeah.
you're a bastard.
Matlow was so pissed. Shout out Matlow. Great manager.
Oh, I don't like that.
But like, I don't have much else to say on the Eagles team because I think the Eagles team is very good. Big Devon Smith fan. I think A.J. Brown's a crybaby, but very good. I think that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the league. Like, I think you have a good team. I think your defense is solid. You tried to beat Georgia. It's kind of backfired, but I think you guys can recover from it. Your team is very good, and I respect the team.
Thank you.
The fan base, I don't respect. I don't understand why you guys I'm sure the tailgates are incredible, but I've seen one, and I don't understand why piss is falling out of porta potties all over your tailgates. I've seen it. I went to a Villanova game. I'm wearing blue Villanova gear.
Was that last year?
Last year, you guys were playing San Fran. When
NFC Championship, man. Come on. Things get wild sometimes.
No, I know, but we're walking through. I got a huge V on my chest.
Okay.
And I have people like, I know I'm a Cowboys fan, but I had no Cowboys gear on. I'm a huge Villanova
They just
guy.
smelled you.
They're screaming at us, fuck the Cowboys. And I turn, I'm like, I'm on your side.
I gotta say, like, I can't explain it, but like, if I walked past you on the street, I'd be like, Yeah, Cowboys or Patriots, like old Brady Patriots. I'd be like, okay, Cowboys or Patriots for sure.
7 Super Bowls. Rings, baby. Rings. Give me all the rings.
How are they doing now?
Give me all the rings. No, rings. 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 It's all about rings.
I have a question for you now because we're at the point in time now where these conversations are going to start bringing up. So Dak's proved himself a lot this year, and such as the Cowboys in general.
I've always been a Dak guy. If that's where you're getting at.
No, not that. I know you've always been a Dak guy.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
if they lose on Sunday, what is your position on Dak and Mike McCarthy for the future?
Position. All right, you have to separate them first. That's where my position is.
Okay, all right.
Mike, if they lose on Sunday, Mike McCarthy should go because we joke about it how he doesn't know how to engage in a clock situation, and I'm totally aware that this dude does not know what a clock is.
Yeah.
You could show him and give him a dictionary definition of how to look at a clock, how to read a clock. You could give him everything, and this man won't know how to use timeouts, clock. He won't know what to do. He's done it over and over again. He screwed us last year in the playoffs because of it, and
What was that playoff loss?
they threw a 30-yard bomb down the middle and thought they
that
could
San
go.
Fran?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Zeke
No.
snapping the ball.
Dak Prescott, yeah, that gave me so much pain. Zeke doesn't deserve that. We all apologize to Zeke. He should have been a Cowboy.
Do you
this
miss
year.
Zeke? I was gonna say, do you
Zeke was my favorite Cowboy of all time.
really?
Yeah,
So,
He's
like, Pollard's. I feel like Pollard was quite underwhelming this year.
he was.
And,
Well, actually,
yeah, the
if
run
you
game
look,
itself was
if you look at
underwhelming,
his stats numbers wise, he looks like he's really good. Had a decent year.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like top 5 in anything, but he's top 10, respectable.
he's good.
But from a Cowboys fan watching it, this was one of the most painful years of a run game I've ever watched in my life. The only positive of it is that some of our young guys came in the last couple of weeks and they look great on the O-line. Like there's some promise, and it's shown because Pollard had 2 very good games in a row. But back to the conversation, Dak Prescott's my guy. Dak Prescott proved why he's my guy. And I think he had people forget this, and like Dak had a lot going on the last year and a half. Lost his brother, dealt with mental health.
Yeah.
You know, it was the 5th. It was, I don't know if it was 5th, what anniversary of him losing his mom. All this stuff started his foundation. He had a lot going on,
Yeah.
and people forget that last year. Like at the end of the day, they're still humans.
Yeah.
Like you think the Eagles players aren't going through it right now? Look at the Colts player that took so much back. He doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. That was
Like Dak
bad
went
all
through
around.
it last year, and he still came out, got better, took responsibility for everything. Something that Jalen Hurts has yet to say in public. Takes responsibility for everything, puts it on his shoulders, and came out. He said he wasn't going to do the interceptions thing, wasn't going to do all that. He's come out and proven that. Yeah, he's thrown interceptions, but it ain't 10.
No.
It ain't 20. He ain't turning the ball over 20 times.
Well,
So
also, I mean,
not every interception's the quarterback's fault, and I'm on your side there because I think that's where you're going to get at. But
I was getting at that, but also like they're playing a little easier teams too. Dallas most
they
of the
played
time.
a lot of similar teams.
Little cupcake games too.
Well,
sometimes
let's look at the board here. Who's playing better?
you are
if
playing better.
Dak
right
Prescott? No, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts this year. Who's playing
now.
better?
Oh, Dak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the future here. And he's proven it over and over again. One is a leader and off the field. Leader on the field and off the field.
He is a good leader.
I personally, that goes farther than just him playing.
The leader.
You can tell by the way that guys look at him and talk to him when he's doing interviews and stuff and they're messing. The guys like him.
Yeah.
Like that goes a long way on the field. You know, like if a mistake happens, like the guys are like, "Oh, we're good. We got that." Like this is the first year where I've seen it like really heavily. Like, yo, we got Dak. We're good.
So
Like,
if
he's my guy going forward, even if we lose.
so like if they like in an imaginary world get blown out by the Packers, that would
No,
would be
we
like
move forward with Dak.
Okay.
Mike McCarthy
I
though
was curious.
can get the boot on the sideline. Third quarter, he can get the boot.
I think even if
bring
you
Dan
don't-
Quinn down from the rafters and let
Yeah.
him coach the end of the game at halftime if we're down by 20.
I think
Because
even
that-
if you don't
yeah.
get to the NFC Championship, it might be time to think about getting away from Mike McCarthy.
Definitely. It
because
depends, but
it's not working.
It depends how the games go.
Yeah.
So here's my thinking with it all. If we play the Eagles in that second round and lose, if we lose by
In the divisional.
if we lose by a touchdown or more, gone.
Okay.
The first round, if we lose, he's gone. Like,
Yeah.
we're not even going to talk
Yeah.
about that. Second round, if it's the Eagles and lose, gone. Lions, depending on how the game goes, if it's a shootout and you know our defense just got run over by Jared Goff, I think there's a spot where because he's running the offense, yes, he's the head coach, whatever, but he's on the offense. If the offense comes out and puts up 40 points and we lose, what can you do? At that point, you got to look at Dan Quinn and be like, come on. But that's the only scenario I think he stays if we don't make it to the conference championship.
Yeah.
Because if you make it a conference championship and you lose to the 49ers, I mean, 49ers are sick, bro. They are so good.
Shanahan's amazing.
I know you said that they're a ticking time bomb, they're gonna blow up.
Yeah.
But that's a good team.
I do. No, and I agree. I agree they're good. They are good, obviously. But I don't know. There's just something. I was thinking about it, and I saw how they played against the Ravens, and that Brock had those 3 losses, that 3-loss stretch to not good teams. It was Bengals without. I think
it was middle of the season.
Middle of the season.
Bengals,
it was Jaguars,
Jags.
I believe there was another bad team. The Browns. The Browns.
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like when Brock gets under those bright lights, like the real bright lights, and if by any chance they're not up 10 or more, room for disaster is growing. And I think San Fran, if they had won in San Fran, I don't think I'd be saying this against the Ravens, but I think the Ravens just kind of showed hey, he's not 100% there yet. And also, I'm not even saying that just because I don't like him. This is his second year, his first full time in. He's a young kid, great team around him. It's a lot of pressure, and I really don't know if he's going to go into these big NFC Championship games and play the full time and say Dallas scores if they get there. Say if Dallas scores and they're up 7-0, 10-0, anything like that, or if it's a shootout. I don't know if Brock's doing that. I just think that there's room to crumble for him, and I could be wrong, obviously, but I just feel I don't see him being that stone cold bastard guy who's going to be it doesn't matter. If he was leading the ending drive at the end of the game with the game on the line, I don't know if I'd be they got
confident.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Niners. It's interesting you say that too because it's a system. I feel guys, this too. Brock definitely has it. He has the potential to be a good quarterback.
He's
very good quarterback in the future. Right now, I feel there are some people that are already sold on him. I'm kind of one of those, but I also think with Brock for the future, yeah. But I think with Brock as well, it's that Kyle Shanahan system is different. We haven't seen anything we have, but nothing in the NFL as of now. Mike McDaniel's kind of trying to replicate it, but between Trent Williams, which is the biggest factor on that team, nobody realizes it because those 3 games that they did lose, he was out. Mm-hmm. He's such an important factor on obviously his left side, left tackle. You have McCaffrey, you got Debo.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at too.
Yeah,
Purdy has the greatest team.
Yes, for sure.
If you put Purdy on the Packers, is Purdy?
No.
Or if you put Purdy on any team that isn't one of the greatest offenses and defenses in the league. But fortunately, he's there, and I think he's really good at being
in the system.
Yes, I don't think
makes sense.
I think if Brock Purdy got hurt tomorrow, and they're putting Darnold in, or who'd they get from you?
Trey
Lance. Maybe not Trey Lance. We don't know yet. But if they put Darnold in there, I think Darnold could run that offense. Maybe not as well as Purdy, but I think they would still be favored in whatever game they're playing. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what I'm saying. That's the power of the 49ers offense and their defense. It really doesn't matter who they put in that quarterback as long as they're competent. And that's why I wasn't totally on board with the whole Brock Purdy MVP thing because he isn't the most valuable player on his team, let alone the league. Mm-hmm. The most valuable player on that team is Christian McCaffrey. Worlds ahead.
Yep.
Yes.
And I think if he doesn't win MVP, I know he's not going to, but I think he should be. If not, I think he'll be unless they give it to Tyreek. I think it should be McCaffrey.
So who do you think will win the MVP though? Lamar?
Probably Lamar at this point, yeah. I feel like there's too much. Is Dak in second? Who's in second these days?
I think it was Lamar, Dak, Christian McCaffrey.
I feel like it's just Lamar at this point. If it was Dak, I wouldn't be shocked, but I think there's too much around Lamar right now. And
especially these last couple games too. Yeah. Threw it for 5 touchdowns. That's kind of
and they're blowing out everyone. That's what I'm saying.
Even the elite teams that too. It's not just the Commanders or the Jets.
They remind me honestly a lot of the Eagles last year because the Eagles would go up like 20 at half and it would be like, oh, the game's kind of over and they would coast, which I didn't like. But, and, you know, getting back into the Eagles a little bit, like, that's been the polar opposite of this season. Week 1, I watched them win by 5 against New England. And we saw how New England was. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, that's not good. And I was like, oh, they're not at home.
I think that was actually one of our morals.
That was my moral. I had like $200 on it.
Oh, what, Eagles?
I had Pats plus 4.5
did not cover.
by a half point.
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah,
It was very close.
it was.
But that's the thing. Like in my recent memory, I have never seen two teams have a Super Bowl hangover. They both are acting like they've won. And I know the Eagles were damn close, but like I figured they were going to be like a little more oomph, like a little more anger. And I just feel like they kind of went out there and were like,
it was like they deserved that. It was like it was theirs to have.
they were like complacent a little bit. They were like,
yes.
we're
Yes,
winning.
for sure.
We should have won the Super Bowl. Yada. And going back to the Chiefs too, the thing with Sirianni as well is, and I never really put it together until recently. I think that Chiefs game in Week 10 was Sirianni's Super Bowl. The way he was acting after they won that game with the fans and everyone, he was like,
yeah.
screw you guys, we beat the Chiefs. We can beat the Chiefs. That's it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about
And
the
then
rest
went
of the
on to
season.
lose
Yep.
the next
5 more games. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if they had beaten the Chiefs, like 11-6, and back to Fletcher Cox's comment with like, you know, it's hard to win 11 games, it's hard to make the playoffs. Yeah, great job, but it's how you got 11-6.
Mm-hmm.
If they had lost 2 of those losses, like, you know, the Chiefs or the Bills or the Dolphins, one of those losses, interchangeable, but you had one against the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Seahawks, yeah, sure, 11-6 is great. There's a lot of teams that are 10 win, 11 win, 12 win teams right now. 11 wins sounds great, but 11 wins doesn't look good when you're 10-1 in week 11 and you lose 5 of your last games to teams that literally aren't even sniffing a wild card spot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Teams that are coming out there with Drew Lock. And I know the Seahawks had this thing with the Eagles, but holy God Almighty, when Drew Lock beat us, I was like, oh no. Like I was like, and
That was like the
make
tipping
these other
point.
teams look great. Like I know Kyler Murray's good.
At home.
Cardinals are a tough team.
At home.
Kyler Murray on New Year's Eve. The thing with New Year's Eve too, they were up. They were up a substantial amount of halftime. I was like, okay, it's good. Even if they
They still put up 31 points too.
It's
Like,
the defense.
It's 100% the defense.
I trust in the Eagles. Like when the Eagles' offense is like locked in, I'm not worried. But it's the defense of putting away points, and that's what happened in the Super Bowl too. We're up, I think 10 or 7 at half. No, we were up 10 at half, up 7 heading into the fourth quarter, and they lost by 3. And I know there was that bad call then, but oh my God, if you're up all that time, you better stay up somehow, some way. And that's what I'm saying. They let it slip, and they get complacent. It happened a lot last season. They'd go up big at half. I was there for a lot of the games. They go up big at half, and then all of a sudden, second half, opposing team touchdown, and then field goal. The next thing you know, it's a 1-possession game, and they win these games. But they let them creep back and come back, and the good teams will learn from that. And I've been saying all year, even though we're winning, and I know I was obnoxious, and I still would have been obnoxious either way. But like I was saying all year, they looked asleep. And their season truthfully ended. I know if it ends next week, it ends next week officially. But their season ended on that game versus the 49ers. Because the 49ers came out there, and like Nick Bosa said, he gave them the blueprint. He gave them the blueprint of how to beat us. And it was enough of the blueprint that teams as incompetent and as in turmoil as the Cardinals and the Giants and the Seahawks were like, blueprint, look, we can beat them too. Mm-hmm. And it's so infuriating because, Sirianni's going out here, coming into next week, we're not changing anything. Holy shit, change stuff. Change it all. Like, if they know what's coming, I seriously, I think, I know they opened up -1.5. It's 3 now. Listen, my official thing is I do think the Eagles are going to win in the first round, but I won't be surprised if they lose because it's something like I think it might be a copy and paste of the Cardinals.
But it won't even change anything, though. It won't change your view whatsoever. It's like, okay, there's a win, but
if they win, I will be just as angry as I am.
exactly.
Well,
I won't be. And that's what you were talking about. Like, if they win, does the narrative change? Like, if they win and they're facing Dallas, I'll be excited just because that's a divisional game. And we've beaten Dallas. I know you don't care about that, but we've beaten Dallas.
Should have lost.
And I think
Should've
we
lost.
could beat Dallas if we were pushed enough. I don't think we're beating San Fran in that moment. But I don't know, man. I'm excited. I'm not excited. I'm very anxious. I'm very anxious to see what goes on because the last thing I need is, the Eagles to give me a little bit of hope.
Well, that's a good place to leave off. So let's not go too far down the rabbit hole here, because we gotta get a move on this thing. But for the last thing of this show, Super Bowl prediction: who wins? Just give us a Super Bowl.
If I had to say right now, I'd say the Ravens.
Ravens.
Ravens right now.
All right. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Top seed, so you're taking favorite. But no, seriously, thanks for coming on, man. That was good. It was good to hear a Philly fan basically repeat what we've been saying for a few weeks now and taking heat for it because I'm a Cowboys fan, they're Jets fans. So it was nice to hear an Eagles fan kind of confirm our thoughts on the Eagles. It's not easy to say or do, but hopefully your season doesn't end on Monday, although I hope it does.
Like I said, Colin, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. All right, let's end this thing. I'm done with this. I'm not getting into that. We're done. Bye.
The setup is in full effect.